Alright, part 2. Oh, it's a 40-degree day, being in this lovely aircon zone. So pleasant. Fun to have to run aircon and do this type of gaming, otherwise I'm just dripping with sweat. If the game's immersive. For equipped, that gives me an intellect bonus, but this one does not. Somehow this one's worth more, I guess because it's made out of iron. shows how quick and how much distance you can travel because you're so immersed in it. You're right into it, you know. Like I could have cast a town portal back there, just because my health is low. I've learnt from watching my videos that my second video being in the corner of the screen stops people seeing the back of my glove and the blue and the red bars. So alright, that was fun. Health and magic is returning. Alright, intellect, because I'm starting to use magic, intellect points are going up. Obviously the weapons I'm using are basically all based on strength. There are weapons you can use that are dex based, there's armors you can use that are dex based, there's shields you can use that are dex based, and whenever you're using them then your dex is going up. So I started the game with +5 on strength, +5 on dex. My intention was to play until I hit about level 10, and I leveled up both of those to about level 10, such that I could have leveled either or up to 10 points at the start of the game, and I would just have the benefit of having the other one level. The nature is those when you level up, you get skill points. You put them into all sorts of traits and unlock things as you go along. You're making a much more powerful character. I think I gave a mention in the video before this, or the video, that I could add a trait point to add 2 points of armor class whenever I've got a shield active. And that I found with my other character made such a difference to playing much easier. I wasn't losing all my life bar as frequently. Anyway, a little bit of a save there. Right, I'm just going to PlayStation button back to the main game. Look, if I only played for a moment there, this is one of my shorter videos, only for a couple of moments. No point like the last video having 25-minute lead in talking about audio and setting out your audio on the system. The reason I am stopping after such a super short play session, 2 things. One is I'm always addicted, always want to play it. Like if I'm doing something else in the house, I just want to come out here and play. But because I've got a little bit of micromanagement of inventory to do, the sort of thing that I learnt in any play session or just about any other RPG with random loot, random quality loot in the game world, is that at the end of each play session you go back to base, you do all your healing, you do your resting, you get all your potions sorted out, you do your alchemy and your crafting and whatever else, and you go to your vendors in town and you sell off all your produce that you don't need anymore to get your weight back down, so that when you start your character afresh in tomorrow's play session, you don't start with no potions, you don't start unrested, you don't start without your inventory sorted, you don't start in town, walk 4 kilometres out into the bushes only to find, my whole inventory's full and I can't pick a flower. So for many people when playing their role-playing games, their hardcore role-playing games, the end of a play session is the micromanagement. When you get back to town, you sell your goods up. I've not been doing that in the whole time I've been playing. I'm too compelled to get out there and swing. I've made comment in other videos that the combat is just so addictive that in just about every other game where you're like, the combat's crap, but the storyline's good, or the blah, 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 but I like doing this, so I put up with that. This game, combat's so good. So those little things in other games that you kind of just put up with it because it's just part of the game. In this, it's not that at all, right? The combat in Skyrim as an example, crap. Really lame to play it. Your heart's not racing. There's no level of stress. There's nothing really going on. In this game, the nature of kind of having to be awake and alert and looking for an exposed part of their body to swing, and it's not just all rote learning, if I do this, a little bit of that. But I mean, yeah, if you get to Legendary Plus mode of this game, the developers have said that it opens up their other arm, everything comes at you a bit quicker. It really is designed as a game with legs that even if you do complete it in the first pass through, you're really just making the game that it should be. The challenge goes up a little bit. You're then in a game world where everything's a little bit more dynamic. So there's a lot of legs on this game. I do feel that many people will play several characters through. Certainly get to that New Game Plus mode. I myself, I'm not there yet, but the nature of this game, it's compelling, and that's when you know you've got yourself a good RPG. When you wake up and your first thought is to play this game, when you finish eating your meal and your first thought is like, should I do the dishes? Should I run the water, let them soak for a bit? While I do that, I'll just come in here and play. Anyway, 40 degree plus day outside. Here I am. I'm hiding from the heat. Nice little lit zone, aircon, chill. Not things I usually do, but look, my excuse. This game's so addictive. I'm compelled. I just want to come in and I just want to play, even if it's only for a minute. I've probably got to go to town and micromanage the sales of all my goods, probably get some coin, maybe consider upgrading for the first time ever. I really feel that should be a separate video that I should be talking about, the economy in the game and whatnot at that stage, and possibly some tips, some tricks and tactics. But look, if this was just to be a short play video showing what the game can be like, it's just incredible. I do feel that the difficulty might be scaling with me, that I'm running around in a zone that should be level 10. I'm less than that by character. I haven't got any really upgraded weapons necessarily. I'm playing with very basic equipment. But gameplay is fantastic. It's top tier. You just want to play it. It's compelling. Game world is one of the better immersive game worlds I've ever seen. It's in good level design. It's in good just placement of just their assets. When you look around the world, it feels like it has been lived in. It feels like there is a story. It feels like whatever's going on has been an immersive adventurous role-playing world. Too many games don't do that. Too many games, the suspension of disbelief. You just got to ignore what you're seeing in the game world in order for the game world to exist. You're just like, oh, that couldn't have happened, or that wouldn't have happened. In this world, the amount of times I see, it might be a campsite where you can see that the fire has been set up, the sleep rolls, the bed rolls have been laid out, and then the characters that were sleeping at that campsite were clearly murdered overnight. Like, the blood is all through their bedrolls. And there's a couple of skeletons in the area, undead, that are trying to attack you. And you can kind of see, oh, okay, well, they became undead. There's times in the game I've seen just a couple of skeletons on the ground just hugging each other. You can see that if that was a slow death, that was a couple of loved ones. And that it's this writing that goes into the setup and the layout of where items are placed and how they're placed. There is just layers to the story. And where I thought Demon Souls was the perfect D&D role-playing game, they just had it felt like you needed your traditional Dungeons & Dragons player handbook out in order to go, okay, that's piercing damage, that armor is resistant to that. It just felt that the role-playing was there, even if the story was light on dialogue or game world explaining stuff. The game world was one that just through exploring explained itself, or gave you a reason to explore it, and you learnt more about it. That is Legendary Tales. From what I've experienced so far, I'm compelled to play it, but it's just the sense of scale. You might not realise with basic level design in a 2D game or a regular on desktop game, but in this, where you're actually in the world and you're the size of the character and you've actually got to travel distances, there's a reason why people keep saying, I want to walk quicker, like I want to be able to travel quicker. It's like you just don't realise how far you've travelled in the game in any given play session because you're so immersed in it. It really is. It's a 10 out of 10 game. It's not 10 out of 10 if you work on the belief that, if there's this negative and you have to subtract a point for all the negatives. I find tons of games that are 9 out of 10 rated or 10 out of 10 rated by other people, and I find there's all this jank in the menus and there's all these issues, and if you're working off this adage of you need to subtract points from a score if a game doesn't achieve certain things, I don't know. What I do know is that hardcore role-playing games are very few and far between, that games like Die by the Sword 20 odd years ago promised this notion of analogue sword swinging and being able to finally engage in these games in the way they are. I know that games like Skyrim VR were built from the ground up to be a desktop game, and so the actual elements of engaging with stuff just isn't where it should be. Whereas then you come to a game like this, which is built from the ground up to be this game, and it just shows how head and shoulders above the things that we liken it to. It really is. Now, that's not to say that if a game came out this month selling for the same amount of money as a role-playing game for a traditional console, that it wouldn't have more voice acting or it wouldn't be a bigger game world or something. Okay, I have no doubt there are bigger, better, more immersive RPG game worlds out there. But to get one that ties it together and as a product is something that we've all been waiting for, or that a certain amount of us, hence they got to sell it for a reasonable price point, because there's only a certain number of people that want to play hardcore games. There's only a certain number of people that have the platform that it's currently on. They've set the low bar quite high. So really it comes down to unit sales as to whether or not they're going to continue to support the current platforms and let the hardware in the market catch up with them and eventually sell on other platforms, or if they didn't make the money they need to make, if now retooling the product they've got for lesser capable systems just to get the unit sales. We don't know, but so far they've been a developer team that has absolutely continued to commit, continued to deliver. They've always under-promised, they've over-delivered. This is, as far as I can see, probably going to get 6 weeks of break. for a couple of the developers on the team after these first couple of patches come out after launch, and then we'll get back to hearing some more from the studio in terms of what their future plans will be. But look, the product that I'm seeing is worth it right now, even in the version it currently is. If it gets updates, which it will, to improve any niggles in it, then it's just even better. If it gets updates to give the product more legs over time, likely what's going to happen, then better still. You know, this is a development team that follow the tech, that develop for the tech. They use the features, and they've got a vision, and they stick to it. So, you know, whether or not we get grabbed a hold using the finger touch, that may or may not. That's something they're currently thinking about. There might be slight changes and tweaks to the game, but it's worth buying now. If you're waiting for a sale as a development team, they seem to have only marked down a couple of times the price by about 10%. I do believe in an interview they've inferred that there will be maybe a juicy discount at one point, maybe in the launch-ish window. For anyone that absolutely insists on getting their software at a cheaper price, they might create that window. If they do, right, that will be your time to buy it. These do not look like developers that constantly have their software on sale and that the price never reflects the price. I do believe if they're throwing a bone to the audience of a markdown price in the first 3 months of it coming out, it will just be so that they can make sure that anyone that really wants to play it and can't quite afford the amount of money can get in and get involved. But I'd say jump on now. There's probably an active community. We've got a multiplayer capable game. This is the one we've been waiting for. It really is that good. Personally, I don't want to be sitting here talking. I'd rather be in game playing it. So that's me signing out. It's been fun. To be continued. Well wishes with.